There is no point in even comparing the financial capabilities of Russia and the West, so it is obvious who will win in the arms race, said Ukrainian military expert Petr Chernik. The military expert emphasized that the fall of Putin's Russia will most likely be caused by the arms race and not just a drop in oil prices, as was the case with the Soviet Union. A military expert clearly demonstrated Russia's weakness against the backdrop of the collective West. Where is the moment here that will have a historical aspect in terms of the arms race? Let's go back a little into the past. The Soviet Union suffered a global collapse under two circumstances. We have analyzed energy resources 1,000 times, low oil prices, but we have never analyzed, and now for the first time, we will analyze the arms race. The Soviet Union spent almost 15% of its GDP on this arms race, despite the fact that it was a large power. 250 million people, the second superpower, and it could not withstand this arms race. Petr Chernik expressed his opinion on what will lead to the collapse of Russia. How, with such large flywheels, will Russia, with its GDP of $2.5 trillion, withstand competition with a monster? The combined GDP of the USA and Europe is $50 trillion. Putin once reflected that the collapse of the Soviet Union was a geopolitical catastrophe of historical order, and we lost 49% of our heavy industry. Now, when they produce almost nothing of their own, how can we withstand this competition? Here is a historical aspect that confirms that this flywheel will sooner or later finish off the bear. As long as Russia has a freely convertible currency, it can exist and fight, said Petr Chernik. If Western countries stop buying Russian products, this will lead to the collapse of the Russian economy and the end of the war in Ukraine. Unfortunately, there is some unpleasant news for us. By the end of 2024, Poland alone bought more than 400 million euros worth of mineral fertilizers from the Russians. That's a lot. A lot. They continue to sell leguminous crops. By the way, they are currently setting historical records. They have a large zone of black soil where Kuban is, and they sell a lot of all this. Not to mention timber, oil, aluminium, non-ferrous metals, and so on. The world buys all this, the military expert said. At the same time, Petr Chernik emphasized the countries that buy all this from Russia produce some products and sell them to the USA. What is the logic? Raise tariffs to 500%, and that's a lot, and then it becomes unprofitable. Those who do this will be forced to stop buying all this from the Russians. I've said this 1,000 times, and if necessary, I'll say it for the millionth time. As long as the Russians have freely convertible currency, they exist until that moment. If there is no freely convertible currency, it's the end for them.
NATO's Supreme Allied Commander Europe, General Alexis Grinkwich, said Thursday that preparations are underway for weapons transfers to Ukraine and that NATO is working very closely with Germany to transfer Patriot systems. According to Associated Press, Grinkwich said at a military event in Wiesbaden, Germany, that he had been ordered to move the weapons out as quickly as possible. He said the number of weapons being transferred is classified. We're already in preparation phase for the first tranche of capability to start moving with respect to Patriots, he said. My guidance is to get the Ukrainians what they need to defend themselves. US President Donald Trump agreed to send the weaponry, but it will be paid for by European countries. An expert working group under Grinkwich is to discuss concrete planning very quickly but also with corresponding caution, a German Defense Ministry spokesperson said Wednesday. NATO chief Mark Rutte said in Washington on Monday that the alliance is coordinating the military support with funding from allies in Europe and Canada. He said there were commitments from Germany, Finland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands and Canada, with more expected to follow.
Systems from Germany are already on their way I'm not going to reveal to the Russians or anyone else the exact numbers of weapons that we're transferring or when those will happen. But what I will say is that preparations are underway. We're working very closely with the Germans on the Patriot transfer. And the guidance that I've been given has been to move out as quickly as possible. So we're doing that, and then we're also looking at other capabilities and what those needs are, and working on proposals for our political leadership. And air defense is important on the modern battlefield, and we've seen the scale of recent Russian attacks against Ukraine. So it is a key focus area, and obviously a key focus area for the Secretary General and the President. So to meet that objective, I do intend to bring everyone together to look at what's in the art of the possible. This will be tied to being able to sequence what flows into Ukraine now, things that Secretary Rubio has talked about. Capabilities that are in Europe can be moved more quickly than something coming off the production line, but the production line can then be used to backfill the capabilities that others donate. So I don't have a good sense of what the numbers will be, but I know that my guidance is to get the Ukrainians what they need to defend themselves. So there'll be a lot more to follow. We're going to move as quickly as we can on this. A ton of coordination in work, but as I mentioned, we're already in the preparation phase for the first tranche of capability to start moving with respect to Patriots.
You said you'd like to have industry deliver capabilities as quickly as...
And one of the lessons that I've taken away is we've got to figure out what mechanisms we can build in all of our militaries that allow that same pace of innovation that the Ukrainians have done so successfully. We're down at the brigade level, they're able to have a relationship with an industry partner that drives innovation not in a matter of years, but in a matter of days. So I think that's something that surprised me. I didn't know that would happen. In retrospect, it's probably a little bit more obvious as you overlay the mega trends of where technology and warfare has gone. But I think it's something that we all need to study and reflect on and incorporate into our formations. All right, thanks everybody, and let me just close with one comment, and that's thanks.
Keith Kellogg, the U.S. President Donald Trump's special representative, who is on an official visit in Ukraine, has visited training sites of Ukraine's National Guard troops, local media reported on Wednesday. According to Ukraine's Interior Ministry statement, accompanied by National Guard Commander Oleksandr Pivnenko, the U.S. delegation observed the training of Ukrainian guardsmen, examining their military equipment and the advanced technologies employed on the battlefield. The delegation was shown how tank and combat vehicle crews are trained, including simulator exercises, as well as demonstrations of drones and robotic systems, the ministry stated. According to the ministry's statement, retired General Kellogg commended the bravery of Ukrainian troops and the excellence of their training, highlighting that Ukraine's battlefield experience holds significant value for other nations' militaries. We are grateful to the USA for the constant assistance that enables our units to effectively defend the country. Ukraine defends its independence and freedom. Together with partners, we continue to develop our defense capabilities, said Commander Pivnenko. Earlier that day, General Kellogg visited a memorial dedicated to the children killed in Russia's war against Ukraine during his visit to Kiev. Keith Kellogg met President Volodymyr Zelenski in both one-on-one and expanded formats in Kyiv on July 14. His visit follows Donald Trump's announcement on Monday that the U.S. would send more weapons to Ukraine and impose tariffs on Russia if there is no progress in peace talks within 50 days.